You want me to put that on my todger?
This one's wife. Look at the face on her. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. Often, when we see this one's wife at an event, we're treated to her rictus grin. Whether it's her arriving at an event, getting ready to take the microphone, standing around being photographed, invariably you're subjected to that fixed rictus grin of hers. This is because her smile doesn't come from a genuine position of warmth and emotional empathy. It is manufactured as a consequence of a response to the provision of fuel and the innate sense of control that is provided as a consequence of her being given attention. For example, when she appears on a red carpet, the press pack are all pointing their lenses at her. They may well be calling out her name. The flashbulbs are going off, but the attention is all focused on her. Even though members of that press pack are tertiary sources, the fact that they're wanting to photograph her, looking at her, pointing at her, calling out her name, all of it provides her with fuel and makes her feel powerful. This then manifests in the production of that smile, but it's not coming from a position of natural warmth. It's coming from an artificial position generated by the sensation of power, and thus one has that rictus grin. When she turns up at a trophy presentation, the fact that she manages to elbow her way into the centre of things, where she's being photographed and people are applauding and looking at her, she's receiving fuel. It makes her feel powerful, and once again the rictus grin makes an appearance. There, of course, have been some instances where the rictus grin hasn't been on display, for instance, where there has been a threat to control. So we have seen the mask slips, the facade being fractured. Notable examples of that, for instance, was when she was photographed berating Harry at the Invictus Games, when she gatecrashed Skippy's wedding and she was seen with a look of thunder upon her face. The death stare that she has given towards Catherine and her own mother. So the rictus grin isn't always permanently plastered across her face, but it regularly makes an appearance. Recently, we had, as a consequence of character trait acquisition and an attempt to be a chameleon in a different way, she demonstrated this by the Zoolander look, where she didn't for once smile, but attempted to pout like a model. Quite entertaining and ridiculous. But more usually, when this one's wife appears, be it walking along the sidewalk, pap walking in a car park, exiting a vehicle, entering a vehicle, walking across the stage, being seen on the red carpet, wherever she happens to be, where there are people directing their attention towards her, the receipt of that fuel causes her to grin. And you've got lots of photographs, and a selection of a few of them have been gliding across your screen as I've been speaking to you, showing those various instances of the rictus grin. Until this happened. Look at that face. You will recognise that this photograph was taken at Kris Jenner's recent 70th birthday celebration. In an earlier video, I talked about how Kris Jenner had her photograph taken with lots of different people, some of which she placed upon her Instagram. But she didn't place this photograph on her Instagram. She didn't place any photograph involving her and this one's wife, or Harry for that matter, on her Instagram. But what's going on here? Well, we see Harry with a half smile, and he's leaning in towards Kris Jenner, and he's got his hand on her shoulder. Kris Jenner is smiling. She is leaning in towards Harry. Then there's some other woman that appears to have been photobombing the photograph. Oh, it's Harry's handler, this one's wife. But look at the expression on her face. No rictus grin here, even though she's being photographed. The eyes, dead. There's no warmth there whatsoever. But hang on a second. HG, you've just been explaining that ordinarily when she's photographed, because of the provision of fuel, that results in the rictus grin appearing. So why isn't it appearing here? That is a fair question, and one that I can answer for you. You can see by the positions adopted by Harry and Kris Jenner that they're clearly having a photograph taken together. She's leaning into him, he's leaning into her. His hand is on her shoulder. That photograph was to be taken with Harry. Kris Jenner wanted a photograph taken with Prince Harry because he's a genuine prince. She didn't want a photograph taken with this one's wife. You'll recall that ordinarily this one's wife ensures, so she can't be cut out of photographs, that she grabs hold of the person that's next to her, often leaning her head in, hugging them, moving up against them, basically encroaching on their personal space. That doesn't happen here. If you had cut this one's wife out of the picture, you would just see Harry and Kris Jenner having a photograph taken together. But it shows that this one's wife was there also. One suspects, because this is taken from a different angle, that the photographer that is taking the picture probably only took it of Harry and Kris Jenner because this one's wife was not to be included. And this one's wife knew that she wasn't to be included, and this is the result. No rictus grin, because rather than being given the sensation of control and fuel by being included, by being wanted, she wasn't required for this photograph, and thus it wounded her. It told her that she didn't matter. It told her that despite that she's got some Cheerios threaded together as earrings, she wasn't important enough to be included in the photograph. That is a problem for the narcissist. The world revolves around her. The world should always want its photograph taken with this one's wife. The world should always be pointing its lens at her, wanting to photograph her. And here, the main photographer clearly wasn't doing that. It was either the case that it was apparent that they only wanted to take a picture of Harry and Kris Jenner, or, and quite probably, it had been announced that I want a picture with Harry. And in other words, I don't want a picture with you. Thus, the result of this one's wife is to have a face that looks like thunder. Dead-eyed, no smile, rictus grin absence. You can see Harry looks pleased to be having his photograph taken, ditto Kris Jenner, but not this one's wife. Her face is a complete contrast to that of the two expressions of the two other people in that picture. And what has happened here is that this one's wife was not wanted. She was excluded, thus she was wounded, and her face tells the picture. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.